Hello everyone, it is the Not My Thanksgiving 1v1 duel. I've gotten 12 drivers, 12 international drivers together for a fun 1v1 double elimination bracket to see who will be crowned champion of It's Not My Thanksgiving today. And so I'll let you know who the drivers are here. We've got buys into round 2 are Jacko, Matt Rosey, Hash, and Jin into Minute. First matchup, as you can see on your screen, will be Unholy Red Eye and Knuckles. Impossible Bacon Dissection is number 2. Dead Text Message, Ulek Coleman, number 3 in Stat, and the Warrior, number 4. Let's see here. Let me get the we are in Russia. Do I have a track map for that? I don't know. What's this? Oh, that's a great question. This is our first attempt at a It's Not My Thanksgiving 1v1 duel. So I've gotten 12 international drivers from our league who, myself, are not American. Am I quiet? My mic, is that better? There we go. My mic was twisted away from me. Thank you, Pork. Yes, this is our first attempt at a 1v1 duel on Thanksgiving Day, which would normally be our race day, but tis not because of American Thanksgiving, and all those who are majority of our league are enjoying that. We've got a couple of the rest of them who wanted to race today anyway, and we've decided to do a 1v1 duel. 12 drivers enter in a double elimination bracket, and only one will win. Just waiting for the drivers to ready up here, and we'll get into it. So this is actually an all-Canadian battle here. We'll see how this one plays out. First lobby of the night already glitched? That'd be great. Yeah. Same. Okay, there we go. And we're gonna get into it here. So Knuckles and Unholy Red Eye. Oh shoot, I got rid of. So Unholy Red Eye is Division 3 for Alpine, and Knuckles is Division 3 for Aston Martin. Unholy gets the better jump right out of the gate and has the inside line as we enter into turn 2 here, or has the full race lead. We'll get right on board with Knuckles and see what he can do. 3 laps make this race, so you don't have to get it done right away. On the fly, stewarding will be done in this race, and as throughout the entire string of races that we have to come here. Unholy is trying to break away from Knuckles here. Knuckles did pick the track. He chose for Russia, and it's not suiting him. Implausible. Oh, Huh? Doesn't glitch. Yeah, Pork. I've done Russia, Abu Dhabi, and France. I wanted to annoy some people. Unholy's already trying to grow that gap outside a second here. Knuckles trying to fight his way back into Sector 3 here through the final couple turns. And we have a couple of 90-degree turns coming up here to finish off the very first lap, actually, sorry, of the It's Not My Thanksgiving 1v1 duel. Knuckles has closed the gap a little bit here. And he's gonna... Ooh, no, it doesn't look like he's gonna catch a slipstream. Unholy's just pulling away. But Knuckles takes a sharper line through that turn, but it looks like Unholy might have the quicker straight line speed here. Might be very important. 3/4 of a second ahead is Unholy Red Eye here. And he did overtake Knuckles early on. And you know what? That inside line... Or wait, no. Knuckles started first. Ooh, extends the track limits as much as possible. We'll see if Knuckles can close the gap once again to Unholy. Halfway done this first matchup here. Next to come up is Dissection and Impossible Bacon. No DRS until the final lap. Knuckles has got to do as much as he can to try and close the gap and have a potential move into turn 2 here. Unholy's just able to increase that gap to above a second. Knuckles is just trying to close it down. If he can get it within a second, it might help him out. Or it should help him out a lot, and that's just absolutely teetering on the edge here. Unholy sets another fastest lap in the race. And yeah, Knuckles will get DRS. Just barely holds on to it, and he's going to close that gap a little bit. He's going to get the help of the slipstream as well. We enter into turn 2. Gap's down to 3/4 of a second, and it jumps up once again. Unholy seems to have turn 2 on lock. That is where he's gained the most time. And Knuckles brings it back a little bit. 8 tenths, 9 tenths, almost a second now. And early on, Knuckles might be tossed down into the loser's bracket. And the first All-Canadian battle is looking like it's going to go to Unholy Red Eye here. Another DRS for Knuckles is going to close that gap. Is he going to have a chance at any sort of lunge? No, doesn't look like it, but he does close the gap, and Unholy feels a little bit of pressure here, and we might have... Oh, we're going to get really close here in the final sector. Not a lot of overtaking room here, and Unholy's just got to put the car in the right spot, and Knuckles just gets a little bit too hot on the throttle, and that will do it for the first race. Unholy Red Eye should come around the final turn for the win, and Knuckles finishes second. Next up, Impossible and Dissection. Okay, let's write that down actually. 133.697. 131.33.697. Alright. That's Russia. Race 1 is in the books. Like I said, next up, Impossible and Dissection. Okay, just waiting for dissection to join up. There we go. And, oh, okay, this is nice. It actually moved really. What's going on here, and how do I get in? Murph! Are you kidding me, dude? You can actually be on standby. If I don't hear back, if you're still here, Murph, if I don't hear back from the warrior at the end of next race, then you're going in and you're replacing him. Okay? So get that PlayStation warmed up. If you like keyboard ASMR, this is the stream for you. Here we go. Dissection starts on the outside. Okay, so it actually is kind of an advantage to start second here, and we'll get right on board with Impossible Bacon. The lights go out. And, oh, a little bit hot on the throttle is Impossible, and that's got Dissection in the lead. We'll see if the slipstream help can get Impossible close enough into turn 2, and it doesn't look like it will. The Alpine of Dissection leads us through turn 1, through turn 2, and into turn 3, and the big swooping left-hander of turn 4. Impossible's trying to take a sharper line, and he's got the quicker way around and wants to maybe take a lunge early, but Dissection closes the door and tries to work on driving away here. Now, Impossible Bacon, if you follow the Midwest F1 League, of course, is a Division 1 driver. Dissection, if I can pull him up here, is Division 5 AlphaTauri. And, oh, a little bit of over throttle there. And Dissection is going to try and go around the outside on Impossible. Impossible gives the way. But it looks like he's going to try and come back at Dissection here. We're going to try and enter down into turn 13. And Impossible with the inside line around the quick little left-hander, but the more important one is Dissection's, and Dissection takes back the lead here in the duel. Impossible is going to try and find another time to do the overtake. We are about to finish up lap 1. The underdog Dissection with the lead. Impossible Bacon is hounding him in a lot of these turns here, and a majority of them really, and is trying to line up a good slingshot exit and potentially have an overtake into turn 2. Dissection gets a pretty decent launch out of the final turn, but Impossible gets just as good of a one and has the help of Slipstream, but can't quite get the job done. Dissection still holds on to the first place, and oh no, the spin from Impossible, and that will surely see Dissection go through with our first upset of the evening. But Dissection's got to finish the race, though. Let's keep that in mind. So we'll follow on board, and we'll take a peek at that gap between Impossible and Dissection. And a lot of the pressure has been taken quite heavily off of the shoulders of Dissection 79 here. League announcements, Murph. Unholy Red Eye. And she's warm and ready. 5. Okay, Murph, I'll get you in here. And good to see you, Shelly the Shrill. Thank you for stopping by. Murph and Sally. Okay, Murph, you're now in the chat. This is good, gives me a little bit of a breather. Dead text message and Ulek are up next. So that gap is closing. Impossible is showing the pace here in Russia, but Dissection was showing some good defensive prowess, and maybe forced Impossible, or Impossible felt like he needed to get a move done, and by doing so, just got a little heavy on the throttle. We'll give Dissection benefit of the doubt there. Division 5 driver did a good job of holding back Impossible Bacon, who is a top 10 Division 1 driver this season, and with a couple podiums on top of that. So hats off to Dissection for taking this one home, and I'm sure we won't see the last of Impossible Bacon. He will drop down and play the loser of Hash versus the winner of our next race here. Go, it is official. Dissection gets the win. And Dissection will go on to take on Matt Rosey next. .624. Okay, so that's a new fastest lap. 132.624. Any chance? What time of day can we set? Sure. Where is it? France. Okay. You love to see it. Where's France? So we want Dead and Ulek. Okay. Oh wait, no. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Not. This one's Russia again. Okay. Here we go. Dead text message and Ulek Holven. Dead text message is a Division 3 driver for Alfa Romeo, and he went with his Alfa Romeo team. Ulek Holven is a Division 5 driver for Aston Martin. First time we've seen the Alfa Romeo livery here. Second time we've seen the Aston Martin livery. My toes are cold. I need a blanket. Ooh. There we go. Race number 3 is about to get underway, and we're moving at a pretty decent pace here. The time is 6:51 on the Pacific coast of Canada. Just another Thursday for me. But if it's not, I'm hoping you're enjoying your Thanksgiving. For all of you American folks out there, thank you for tuning in. Very much appreciated. Sorry I'm not very uppity on the chat tonight, but thank you for the conversations here, everyone. Ulek Holven has the outside line, and Dead text was down the inside, and Dead gets a far better jump on Ulek. We'll get on board with Ulek and see what he can fight back here. Swinging around turn 1. Dead text message has the lead, and he's going to hit the braking zone of turn 2 and time it well. A little bit of oversteer, but Dead snaps it back well enough, and we swing around turn 4. And Dead's going to try and open up that gap on Ulek here. Ulek, quick little shout out, is the guy that does all of the pictures and the overlays and whatnot for the league, and getting up a little bit too high on the curb is going to really hurt him here, and Dead text message is already trying to break away. And Ulek, I think, can feel the pressure here, seeing that driver already getting so far away and so early on into the race. But hey, keep trucking here, Ulek. Any sort of mistake from Dead can bring yourself right back into it. He's slowly keeping that gap. He's keeping that gap at 1.25 seconds. Dead text message must feel a little bit of pressure taken off here. Maybe sending it a little bit too deep there was Dead text message, but he's got the gap to be able to do little mistakes like that. And Ulek getting really saucy on the throttle there, and it works out well enough as he did close a little bit of time to Dead text message, and I think Ulek might have found his bearings here. And he goes a little bit deep through the final turn, and that gap still sits at about 1.25 seconds. Ever since that one mistake, Ulek hasn't been able to close the gap quite enough, but all he's got to do is just get back within a second in the final lap here, and he will have a shot with 2 DRS sections in Russia here. The first one can close the gap, and a good sector 2 leading to the second one can get you close enough to have a shot into sector 3. So still need to keep forward here, and once again Ulek going up and over the curb, taking a little bit too much curb in an area that you don't really need to. Avoids it this time around, but Dead text message is taking cleaner lines and has grown that gap to 1.5 seconds, and Ulek really trying to over push here, braking a little bit too deep, and is now have that gap at 2 seconds. And Ulek needs quite the mistake from Dead text message here to get himself back into this. Just sitting at the peak of his field of view down the straight. Right before he hits the turn, and Ulek closes that gap to almost 1.5 seconds now, so some potential here, but a little bit of a bobble from Dead text message would really help him out here. Swinging around the final couple of turns here onto the last 4. Once again, Ulek taking that wide line, and snaps on through it. We finish up the final couple of turns, a couple of 90-degree. The rush into Lesmos, if you will. Actually, I just thought about that. Not a bad shout. I don't know. I probably made a couple of the hardcore F1 guys cringe a little bit with that, but that's okay. I'll get over it. So up next on our list, we've got Stat versus Merpantelli in France. Actually, if dead text message gets a penalty here, that could be detrimental, that's for sure. Just Ulick actually going purple through sector 2 though, so that's or sector 1, so that's a good shout. And man, do people not know we have a Twitch? Like, it's just, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm gonna make fun of. I can make fun of multiple people now by saying this, but like getting the question of, is there anywhere we can watch this? It's just kind of funny. It's like, do you not just get absolutely just destroyed by pings every Thursday? Is that just? I'm not just bashing on dissection, but I don't mean to be bashing on dissection, but as well, I mean, who else asked that question? Whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, they're here now. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. So dead text message takes that one home. He moves on to face Hash. We'll report that with Dead getting the dub there. And we got Stat versus Merpantelli up next. Any ULEC exceeded track limits twice. Oh, can we give players accolades? Give accolade. Oh. Alright. We want Static Hazard and Merpantelli. And then this one is taking place for the first time this evening in France. Alright, let's see what Circuit Power Card brings for us here. Thank you everyone for tuning in this evening. I know that you had nothing better to do on your Thursday because I'm assuming most of you are internationals. So, internationals to the United States of America, that is. You're native to your country, I'm assuming so. But anywho, France Circuit Power Card, first one of the evening. Let's see what can take place between Merpantelli and Static Hazard here. And Stat's got the line into turn 1 here, but Murph is pretty dang close to him, and Stat's going to have the lead through turn 1, and Murph right on the tail, swinging around him on turn 2. I think, do we have a, no we don't have a freaking, I chose all the tracks that we don't have track maps on. And very tight racing here, as we just finished up Sector 1. Merpantelli right on the back of, I can actually get rid of that. Merpantelli right on the back of Stat here. And he takes a different line here, trying to get a better run down the straight into the slipstream. He's going to close the gap. We'll get on the broadcast view and see if that gives us a nice little angle. Not too bad, not too bad. Into this quick little left, right, left. Murph's still stuck in behind. Stat's going to fight this one hard. But we'll see what the Division 1 Ferrari man can do versus the Division something of Static Hazard. And keeping it close is Merpantelli here. Stat's doing a good job of not making any mistakes. And we come around the final turn here. Ooh, big oversteer snap from Merpantelli here, and he gets back into the slipstream. Stat sets the fastest lap. The gap holds at just within 3/10. We didn't need really the track map to tell you that, or the interval. Stat, I guess you didn't need the interval to tell you, went a little bit deep through turn 1, and that brings Merpantelli back closer, and Murph gets a big chunk of that turn and actually bumps a little bit to the back of Stat, letting him know, hey, you're slowing me up here a little bit. If I can find a good place on track, I'm going to overtake you. This is actually an Australian versus a Canadian battle, first one of the evening. But Stat gets the better run down the straight, the second DRS straight on Circuit Power Card, and here we go back in the quick left, right, left. Stat says, screw you, pylon, and knocks him out of the way. Gets a decent run out of the final left-hander, but Murph gets an even better one and doesn't actually want to go for an overtake here. Doesn't want to fight it quite yet. He swing quickly through the right-hander, and maybe an overtake for Merpantelli here. Think about the outside line. He's going to get himself alongside Stat, and he's going to ride this one deep, and now to the inside line. Oh, and a little bit of contact. Oh, is that race restart worthy, chat? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Murph got into him there. I hate to say it. I'm gonna let this one ride, honestly. Yeah, exactly, Jin. I think, yeah, I'm gonna let this one ride. I think Murph turned a little late, and Stat was on his line. 5 seconds and 1 LPP. Yeah, okay. So that's gonna bring the end to the first race here. In progress, done. Stat takes down Merpantelli. And that moves us on to Jacko versus Unholy Red Eye. Merpantelli goes down into the loser's bracket. So Impossible Bacon and Merpantelli down to the loser's bracket. Okay, we'll put this one down. Merpantelli 1.32168. I mean, you got 3 track limits, might as well use them, right? Yeah, that was a good tussle between those two guys. And honestly, with it being that close, I mean, a spin was kind of coming, but it was really good, and it's just the tiniest little thing was the difference there. And yeah, close one. Would have liked to have seen that one go the distance, but Merpantelli will have its chance to battle into the loser's bracket. He will be taking on the loser of this race, actually. Oh, sorry. Oops. Oh, shoot. Dissection, I'm sorry. I invited the wrong guy. I needed to invite Unholy. There we go. And need Jacko. Restart the lobby. We're gonna hit everyone with one of these. Okay, we're good. I looked to the right for a split second to see how close I was to a side plot. I didn't see the turn in coming that soon. Okay, so he made the right call. Unlucky there, Murph. But down on the losers bracket, and you should scout this match because you play the you play the you play the loser of this. So we're going at a decent pace here. We're on to match 5. We might end up having to skip a match or two if Matt Rosey and Hash don't answer back, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. No answer. Okay. Jacko is still in second after turn 1. Unholy gets a good enough run and holds on as we swing our way to finishing what is quoted as a fun Sector 1 by Kimi Räikkönen. And he doesn't say many things are fun. And Jacko gets very aggressive early on here, tries to swing deep around the hairpin, and gets himself right in behind Unholy Red Eye here, working his way through the gears into the slipstream. Unholy has got the middle of the track on lock, and he isn't going to move away from it here. Defends the inside line, forces Jacko to go deep, and Jacko does a good job of swinging it around and through and gets the job done. Unholy is going to get in the slipstream here, and maybe he can warrant something, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch him the old-fashioned way, like what was in Abu Dhabi of 2019, I think it was, where DRS was glitched for a bit. And oh, Jacko getting a little heavy on the throttle there. A little uncharacteristic from the Aussie. But anywho, we finish up Sector 2 and on to the final sector. A lot of sharp turns here, and a lot of corners that you can bite a good portion off of here, but you got to be careful with the curbs. Jacko still holding on to first place. We are about to finish up lap 1 here, and Unholy's doing a good job. Did lose first place, but it hasn't allowed Jacko to get too far up ahead. Absolutely destroys demolishes, we'll do that one, demolishes that delineator there, and falls back a little bit, but a little bit of oversteer from Jacko is going to help Unholy kind of close the gap ever so slightly here, extending the lines through Sector 1 as much as you can, hitting the braking point very deep, and makes it a little bit too deep and messes up his lines for the next 2 turns, and that moves Jacko outside a second. And Unholy, really trying to push here, is kind of forcing himself into some poor lines and really hurting him. Unholy does close the gap a little bit there in the straight. Might have a quicker straight line setup. This place last time was where Jacko overtook Unholy for the lead and hasn't looked back since. Once again, Unholy closing the gap a little bit, and Jacko's still going to hold on. We get through the first couple of turns in Sector 2, or through Sector 3. My brain is just out of it right now. Ooh, and Unholy makes a mistake there. On to lap 3. Jacko seemingly has this one in the bag. And it's almost as good as done here, and it looks like the next 2 races between Matt Rosey, Dissection, and Hash and Dead Text Message are about as good as done, with no answers from Hash or Matt Rosey. So looking like our next race up will be Static Hazard versus Jinnit to win it. Jacko's just come around the final turn here, and that will be it for his first race of the evening. The number 1 seed holding on to serve, knocking Unholy Red Eye down, and he will take on Merpantelli in the losers bracket. So that means Impossible will get a bye. We'll write down that lap for Jacko. That will mean Ulek will get a bye. Okay. So France. So this is the last race of round 2, and then we will get onto the losers bracket and see who will be going home. It's tough to see all these drivers be forced to go and spend time with their families, but we will do that if we must. Back to France, chooses Stat. Loser of this will go on to play Knuckles. So we got a bunch of losers bracket matches to come. So we're going to crush out 4. We're going to knock out 4 drivers. Well, after this race, of course. I guess we'll finish with this one first. Jin has the inside line into turn 1. And we'll see what the Australian versus the British battle can do. And I think this is the first one of the evening here. So we got Jin leading the way through turn 1. Stat trying to follow through. We'll see what Jin can do, and already using up one of his his penalties or his warnings, and already trying to grow that gap onto Static Hazard here. Stat, of course, getting through Merpantelli on this track only a couple of races ago. Doing a good job here, getting a good launch down the straight. And he's going to get himself really close up to Jin, and we might have a little bit of a lunge. He thinks about it, and he's going to shoot it, and forces Jin, and yeah, I think... now I know what I think on that one. There, chat. But do we have any stewards in the chat this evening? Anyone anyone know what, or anyone feel like they know the answer to this stewarding riddle of if that was a penalty or if that was not a penalty? Don't be shy. We're all friends here. No? No one? Oh, there we go. Shells the turtle? Yeah, good call out. An unfortunate racing incident. Is the answer 7? Shells? I didn't see it. No, Pen. Yes. Yes. A majority of you are correct. An unfortunate racing incident. Murph, you just couldn't bear watching it, hey? That's why you didn't see it. But yeah, that's looking like that is a racing incident. Stat went for it all in the first lap. And now he's relying on Jin to take a penalty here. And then some. If we'll take a look at the race director. And yeah, Jin right out of the gate taking a... Oh, it's collision. Oh, it's just a warning. I don't know. I guess he didn't... Did I not put it to strict? Oh. I didn't put it to strict when I reset the lobby. I was getting my Dubai setup ready just in case. Oh. Unholy, you need to choose your track for against Merpantelli there. .131.732. That beats 131.654. We'll see if that will stand. What do you mean, uh-oh, naughty crash? What did I do? Alright. Unholy chooses Rusha for his matchup. And Jin is just finishing up Sector 3. Take a look at his... No, I want... No, I guess we can do that. So Stat holds the fastest lap right now. I want that. Looking at 131.64654. Is he going to? Yes, he does. Goes into the 130s. What will Stat do here? And Stat can't close that. And Jin takes home his first win. And he will go on to face Dead Text Message, where Stat goes down to face Knuckles. 130 point. Wow, that was a quick one. 130.466 by Jin. Okay. Now Unholy Red Eye and Murph. Okay, so Unholy, of course, got the better of Knuckles in race 1, and then lost to Jacko in the first race of round 2. Merpantelli lost to... wait, what am I? Yes. Yes, this is making sense. Merpantelli lost to Static Hazard in his first race in France, and now has been in the waiting seat to take on Unholy Red Eye for a little bit here, and Unholy, sorry, opted for Russia again. He had success there. Didn't have success versus Jacko at Abu Dhabi. Goes back to where he got his win. Goes back to where he got his win to do it all again. To stave off elimination, we're going to have to say goodbye to the first person here that isn't a no-show, i.e. Matt Rosey and Hash, but to one of the drivers that did actually compete, and Russia is where it's all going to take place. Merpantelli has the inside line through turn 1 and uses that advantage to get back alongside Unholy Red Eye and has the inside line through turn 2. What is going to take place? They give each other their room, and Unholy Red Eye does a good job in defense going around the outside and holding on to that position. Merpantelli now slots back into position 2 of this race and swing around the big left-hander into that quick little right-hander. Unholy Red Eye going off track, and that should be one warning for him. Got to keep that in mind. And Murph can't let Unholy get too far away here. Murph, of course, is a D1 driver and doesn't want to be the first D1 driver out of this competition. He did, of course, kind of bail us out a little bit and take one of the spots that was left vacant by actually the Warriors. So, hats off to you, Mr. Murph. Appreciate it. And Unholy is trying to say thank you by eliminating him here in Russia. We are swinging our way. Oh no, that's not what you want to see from Murph, going a little bit too deep, but Unholy didn't have a good clean couple of turns there, and Murph getting a little squirrely here and still holding on. Fuck, my power's been out for a couple hours now. My phone died. I'm sorry. I can't join. Oh. Sorry, I had to usher the dog out of the room. Merpantelli still stuck in behind Unholy Red Eye. And I don't know what to do. Oh yeah, Knuckles, I'm good. But yeah, okay, lap 3, Merpantelli is extremely close on Unholy Red Eye. Let's finish with what's going on here, and we'll deal what is been happening. but we're gonna have to reopen that one. Okay, so we're all working out here, but this is the last solid chance for Merpantelli to try and get an overtake on Unholy. He's got DRS, and he's gonna get close. And this is the move here, ladies and gentlemen. Unholy goes to defend the inside line, but Merpantelli is too far gone, and after leading the entire race, going a little bit too deep, and now oversteers, and unfortunately that'll be it for Unholy Red Eye. Merpantelli will just be able to stave off elimination here, and Unholy Red Eye, unfortunately, is the first one out of the competition. Actually, second. Hash is the first one out of the competition. 132.736. No, Impossible Bacon still holding the fastest lap there. Okay, so we're gonna get Matt Rosey and a section in next. Let him race in losers bracket. No, because he's fine stat. We'd actually, it doesn't hurt us at all to actually do his race. So stat versus Knuckles after this. We got Matt Rosey and Dissection right now in Russia. And then Knuckles wants Russia. Okay, here we go. Dissection versus Matt Rosey. The round 2 matchup that was almost left in the dust has been revived. And we press on forward. We are about halfway through all of our races. We are actually halfway through all of our races here. Now, of course, the winners finals, or the finals will be a best of 3. We will go through all the tracks. The driver in that advances through the winners bracket into the finals will get choice of the order of the tracks, where the driver in the losers bracket will have no choice, as the winners bracket will have the advantage for making the winners finals through that way. SSG JT, thank you for the follow. Thank you. Appreciate that. What is taking so long for this lobby to get going? This is an all-Canadian lobby, I might add as well, so what would be happening? And yeah, Knuckles, thank you for the shout out, I guess, for what's happening over here on my part of Canada. You guys stuck loading? I think we are stuck loading. Give me a second here, folks. Other sisters and Abbotsford. The sister in Abbotsford went on vacation in Kelowna when it went down and didn't get home until recently. Wow, stop. Glad you're all good home. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, it didn't really affect me. Still went to work. Still hated it all the same. Just a little bit more rain for me. Was pretty bonkers, the pictures, though. Oh my god. I don't know if you know Castle Fun Park, Knuckles, but that was a bloody lake. That was nuts. I'm sure you probably have heard all the stories of oh, okay, they did already up. Of like what Abbotsford used to be before, um, you know, it used to be, it used to be a lake or whatever. But here we go. Matt Rosey has got the outside line. Dissection with the inside line here. Matt's first race of the evening with the return of power to his household. And Dissection's got the advantage here coming into turn 2 after that long run into it. And pushes Matt right up onto the curb, does Dissection. Trying to keep his winner's bracket run afloat here. Did get moved on to pace Jacko, but got brought back to properly get through this race with Matt Rosey getting his internet or Wi-Fi or actual power entirely back and chooses the Red Bull livery here to try and hunt him down. I didn't even notice that they actually went back to the blue Red Bull livery. When did that happen? Can someone update that for me? Because I have no idea. For all I know, it could have been back for like 3 weeks, and I would not even notice the difference. Wow, when did they bring that back? And okay, Matt Rosey's finding himself in a little bit of difficulties here. 3/4 of a second back of dissection. A blue on blue battle, sky blue of Alpine versus the Red Bull navy blue. Like I said, this is an all Canuck battle. Minus Canuckles, if you will. Matt Rosey not finding his form early on here. Already 3/4 of a second adrift of dissection here. Dissection is setting the fastest lap, and I'm sure that will be beaten. But Matt Rosey gets an all-important final turn to swing himself around turn 1 and closing the gap ever so slightly to dissection. He does just have to keep it close and see if he can do. My wife worked at Castle Fun Park when she was 16. Yeah, nice. Castle Fun Park is the shit. Still go to it today. Always fun to go for food in Abbey, and then to Castle Fun Park after. Whoa. Matt Rosey's heading the purple sector 2, still 3/4 of a second back, or 1/4 of a second back. 1/3 of a second, that is how math works. But now, at one point he was 1/3 of a second, but until I kept stuttering. He is now 2/3 of a second, so it all comes back. And Matt Rosey trying to work that gap down. Of course, no DRS here in lap 2, and that will be in lap 3, where Mr. Rosey may have that advantage. But dissection is doing a good job of holding that gap, and Matt Rosey is doing the best he can to try and keep that within a half a second. Of course, the next race will be Stat versus Knuckles. And Knuckles did choose. Knuckles chose Russia. So we'll be back at Russia. So Russia seems to be the track of choice here. And there we go. Matt gets his DRS and he... Oh, what the... That was pretty good. I knew he lagged, but it just looked like he just like snapped and killed him. Like he just tried to end him. Oh my god, yeah, get him out of here, eh? What the heck is that? Wow, that's funny. He's gonna try and come back. And he's into the slipstream here. And Matt Rosey should be able to take the win on dissection. And oh my god, that was funny. Gets through him on the final DRS straight, similar to what Merpantelli did on Unholy, and will be able to come over the line for the win. He did, of course, bin dissection out, but with no damage, he allowed him back in, and everything is okay. $132.920. I don't think that beats it. 132. Yeah. Yeah, you know what, Matt? I'm gonna knock your ass down to the losers bracket. Okay, so Stat and Knuckles. He had a cat jump on his lap. Oh god. Yeah, that's a red card for Matt Rosey. Okay. I thought it was lag, but he actually turned right into him. Oh my, that is actually hilarious. I would have loved to have seen that. Just like the, oh my. Hashtag internet speed test. Yeah, Matt. Um. Okay. So here we go. Stat versus Knuckles. Okay. We're right into it. Session will start in what? What am I? Okay, so it is Stat versus Knuckles. I don't see another pit crew set up here. The Aston Martin versus the McLaren for another potential driver out of this Grand Prix. And we will see what is to happen here. And Stat has the inside line on Knuckles. And I don't think I set the time to what it properly is, as that is a big shadow that wasn't there last race. Stat closes the door going into turn 2, and Knuckles is going to have to slot in behind here. Now this should be a good race here. Knuckles was stuck in behind on Holy Red Eye the entire time his first way around, but he's going to try and find a little bit of better fortune here on Static Hazard this go. He's got to keep up with Stat and then take advantage of that DRS straight in Sector 2, at the end of Sector 2. That seems to be the winner so far, and we'll see if that happens again. But Stat's doing a good job of putting a lot of pressure on Knuckles here. Already moving that gap to 3/4 of a second, but Knuckles has just got to get his wits and just stay on a steady line and not let Stat get too far ahead. When you are chasing a driver, you can feel yourself kind of overstepping some corners compared to when you are being chased by a driver. Personally, that is what I do, is that when I'm chasing, sometimes I kind of get a little bit over ambitious on closing that gap, and you can see that happening a little bit here with Knuckles. Gap sits at a second at the end of our first lap here, and what is race 12 of the It's Not My Thanksgiving 1v1 duel. Knuckles is trying to keep it close. We have Matt Rosey versus Ulek Holvin after this one. And it's looking like Stats running away with this one now. Nearly at 2 seconds is the gap. He's going to need a big mistake. Knuckles is doing his best to chase him down. Stats doing a good job and just continues to grow that gap ever so slightly. And as I was saying before, Knuckles, now he's found a little bit of pace, but might be a little too late here. Closes down quite a few tenths through the last couple of corners here. A good run out of the final turn helps out Stat and kind of negates that pressure that was coming. Knuckles has got to close this gap quite a bit for the next DRS straight. That will unfortunately bring an end to his evening. Starting off fairly decently here, does close it down to 1.4. Finding a little bit of pace here. May make things interesting, but that turn might have done him in here. Needs some sort of mistake from Stat before the DRS straight. And it doesn't look like it's coming here. Stat's as steady as a rock. Knuckles did find a little bit of pace, and that looks like that may bring an end to another Canadian in the competition. Matt Rosey versus Ulek is to follow. Ulek selected. And unfortunately, that is it for Knuckles. Even though his driver is celebrating, I don't think he knows that he's knocked out of the competition. So we're going to have Matt versus Ulek, and then we're going to have Stat versus Impossible. And we'll be at France if you can't tell. Alright, Matt, join up. I'm banned from the session. Oops. Everyone's just doing Russia. No, no, no. Ulek threw in a curveball. It's another point where we can see another driver eliminated. They're going to start dropping like flies here, folks. Not what you want to see, but is what's forced to be had. And Ulek gets an early lead going into turn 1 on Matt Rosey here. And goes right up over the curve of turn 2 and is going to be under pressure here from Matt and his McLaren. And Matt's forced to hold off and wants to get right back alongside Ulek. But Ulek closes the dust door. And some very close racing between these two drivers. Ulek taking an odd line and taking a tough exit out of that turn, and Matt opts for the better exit or entry and exit, and will get himself alongside Ulek. And we already have a lead change here. And on lap 1, Matt Rosey gets through on Ulek and then spins it. And oh no, can't blame it on the pussy that time, Matt. That is not what you want to see. 4.5 seconds adrift now of Ulek. And as quick as he came is as quick as he may be gone. Matt Rosey is on the verge of being knocked out. He's got to close a 4-second gap here. And what? I looked away for a second. What happened to Ulek? Chat, what happened to Ulek? I actually looked away. Did he spin or did he pull off? I've got away with words sometimes, eh? I think it's pretty good. But no, seriously though, I didn't see what happened to Ulek. Did he spin? I looked away as well. Oh, Christ. And, I mean, I guess that's why you just keep your head down in racing. Matt Rosey did spin, and I don't think Ulek did that on purpose. I mean, we've already had 2 spins in this race. I mean, what happened to Matt? Did Matt just spin 2? What is going on here? Did I commentate or curse that? Well, we're gonna get into the final lap, and after 3 spins, these 2 drivers are gonna be nearly within a second here. Matt Rosey's definitely feeling the pressure. Matt started off with the spin. Ulek said, "Hold my Sleeman." Did you clip that? That's a beautiful clip. Alright, on to the final lap. Matt Rosey's 2 seconds up the road of Ulek. Ulek has fought back, and unfortunately a mistake is going to most likely allow Matt for the win here. But of course Matt's got to get through the turn that he of course spun his first time around. And lot cleaner this time. He's just got sector 3 to battle it out here. Then we'll get on to Stat versus Impossible Bacon. And yes, it's looking like Matt Rosey will knock out Ulek Holvin. Ulek had his chance, but unfortunately the spin did it in the end for him. And that will bring an end to this race. 131.5. Not quicker than Jin. Okay, here we go. So I want Possible and Stat. Alright, just waiting for Impossible and to switch the lobby to Abu Dhabi. And there we go. And we're right in. Now these two are a couple of the quickest ready uppers, and it's sad to see that one of them will be going home. We've had to send home 3 drivers already. And one of these two will be the 4th. And here we go, Stat versus Impossible in Abu Dhabi here. Final race on the calendar, usually. And Impossible can't close the door on Stat and is forced to slot in behind. Impossible's going to follow him through Sector 1 here. And early on in lap 1, Stat holds a 3/10 lead, and Impossible goes for a nice little lunge down the inside line. Stat opened the door, and Impossible took a piece of that pie, and Stat says, "Nuh-uh," and takes it right back. Now, if I could paint you a picture there, it'd be Stat was walking down the street, just coming from Cobb's, if any of you know where that Cobb's are, and bought himself a nice piece of pie, and Impossible Bacon walking by as well. Impossible walking by says, "Hey Stat, that's a nice pie." Stat says, "Yeah, thanks, I'm looking forward to this." Impossible says, "Do you mind if I have a slice?" And that's when he looked at the inside line, and Stat said, Not today, mate. And Impossible says, well, I'm just going to take a slice anyway. And that's when he reached out, reached into his pocket and pulled out an and I'll end my story there. You'll have to hear about it on this next week's episode. And Impossible Bacon unfortunately bins it, and that's looking like that could be the end for Impossible. Ouch. So a spin versus dissection, a win versus an AFK of hash, and another spin versus stat, and things are not looking good here for Impossible. He's got 8 seconds to try and close on Static Hazard. Went for the pie in the first lap. Stat said, nah, give me my pie back, and perfectly fused the pie crust back to full health without even being able to notice that there was a piece of pie even taking from it. Unbelievable skill from Stat in pie replacement, I must say. And Impossible was just like, yo, that's hella impressive. And then spun out. And then that's about the story of Static Hazard versus Impossible Bacon for your round 14 or match 14 matchup. True story. But yeah, next to come, Merpantelli versus Matt Rosey. Going back to the all Canuck battle. So we're gonna lose a Brit. Still got the Brit of Jin. But it looks like the Canadians are holding down the fort right now. We've got 2 Aussies that are going to be left. Stat sets a 138.192. Now, Jacko still has the fastest Abu Dhabi lap. We'll see if we can get beaten here. We'll pull up our telemetry. No. Lap data, thank you. It's all the Marmite for Stat gives him nerves as steel. You know, in high school, for whatever reason, we used to call each other marmots. Like, if one guy was pissing us off or something, or we wanted to insult him, it's like, shut up, marmot. I don't know why. It was just a thing to call people. Crash has got putty tat on his brain now and possible slits back in behind. Well, I hate to break it to you, Murph, but I constantly have putty tats on my mind. Bacon prefers an apple crumble. Oh, does he now, Jin? Now, is that sarcasm or is that true? See, now I you know what, call me weird, but I only like pumpkin pie. And some people only hate pumpkin pie. So for those, it's similar to the olive theory in How I Met Your Mother. But anyway, we'll leave that thought for another day with Static Hazard coming over the line and will take home the loser's bracket win. 137.235. And unfortunately that sees an end to the run of Impossible Bacon. Surely he thought he'd go deeper into the competition than this, but no. Losers round 2 is where he bows out. 137.235. Does not take faster. Oh, and Hayden Rogers with the follow. Thank you very much. 8 away. 8 away from 250. Oh my god, we're getting there. So close, so close. Yeah, losers round 2 is almost finished here. We've got Matt Rosey versus Merpantelli. 2 drivers that are very excited to go up against each other. Murph is going to go back to France and see if he can harness the power of the pussy. His words, not mine. I'm just the messenger. go. We're gonna get Matt and Murph. Stat impossible. Gots to leave. Oh shoot, never mind. I need to switch it to France. I did it. I did it. Merci bouquets. Merci buckets. I don't know why I think that's actually funny. I haven't heard that for a while. Alright. All Canadian Showdown here. Murph and Matt. Dissection and Jacko to follow. At Dissection. At Jacko. Up next. Did Dissection ever... Okay. Matt Rosey and Merpantelli here. Entering turn one, Murph sends it around the outside. Matt gives him the space, and then Matt wants that space right on back, and these guys are going to be very tightly battling here. And Murph is really giving it the gears to Matt Rosey here. Now, out of true pace, I got to give the advantage to Matt Rosey, but sheer heart, attitude, and drive, I give that to Matt Rosey as well. Cats, I give that to Matt Rosey. Car with the color blue in it, I give that one to Matt Rosey as well. Car with the most red in it, I'm colorblind, so I'm going to give that one to Matt Rosey as well. We'll see what Merpantelli can do here. A lot of the odds are factored up against him. He tries to overpower Matt in having the M capitalized in Murph compared to the lowercase that Matt has chosen in his name. And as well capitalizing that R where Matt opted for the lowercase r as well. And we can even extend this to the E. But the one thing that I can give Merpantelli is he's got an N and Matt Rosey doesn't have an N. So this is something that could really change up the entire makeup of this race. And Shelly the Turtle, we are in losers round 2. This will be the 6th person to bow out. Brody Glemm has followed. You haven't been followed before. What in the world? Or did you just unfollow and refollow? No, you did follow. We're at 243. What are you doing, Brody Glemm? Tune in from time to time, he says. Never smashes that follow button. And that reminds me, if you're new to this stream, you haven't been in here before, smash that follow button. Come check us out as we go live Wednesdays and Thursdays, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. This is a little bit of a different one, as you can tell. This is the Not My Thanksgiving 1v1 Showdown, where we get all the internationals. And in this case, we have Matt Rosey and Merpantelli, a couple Division 1 drivers, duking it out to come in and test their skills in a 1v1 double elimination bracket. currently in losers round 2. We've knocked out 5 drivers. This will be the 6th, whoever it is, whether it being Merpantelli or Matt Rosey. So we'll see. Matt Rosey stuck in behind Merpantelli through the first 2 laps, and I'm not sure if it will stay there for the rest of it. But Murph is doing a good job not opening up the door to Matt, and Matt's doing a good job not allowing Murph to get too far ahead. But we'll see if Matt's got something up his sleeve. Of course, absolutely demolished a section with the help of the pussy in Russia, and is trying to and ended up actually getting a red flag for doing so. We do not condone violence because of cats in this league, so we're forced into giving Matt Rosey a red card and knock him down into the losers bracket, where he attempts to go on a crazy losers bracket run, and the one man in his way is Merpantelli, and here we go. This is where he's gonna try and do it. One of the few areas on track in Paul Ricard here. Merpantelli blocks off the inside line early, forces Matt to take the bumpy way through, and then Murph takes a little bit too deep of a braking line, and that allows Matt Rosey through, and Matt should be able to break off into the distance here. Has more ERS saved up than Murph, and we get into the slalom of Sector 3 here, working our way around the big right-hander. Thanks, hi Brody Glenn. Thanks for the follow, appreciate that, dude. And there we go, Matt Rosey looking to take down one of his Canadian counterparts here, and it's a Canuck on Canuck battle, Canuck on Canuck warfare, and you hate to see it, but it's something that had to have been done. Matt Rosey will come over the line with the dub, and Merpantelli will see himself draw out of the competition. So here we go, back to the winners bracket we go. Jacko versus the section, then Dead Text Message versus Jinnit to win it. $130.457 in fonts. Oh, just gets it, does Matt Rosey. 130.4, beats it by 9 thousandths of a second. I shiznit you not. So Matt may be finding his form here. Come on, boys, close the lobby. There we go. So now the loser of this game will go on to play Stat, and the winner will go on to play the winner of Dead Text Message and Jinnit to win it. The loser of Jinnit to win it will go on to play Matt Rosey, as Matt Rosey continues his losers bracket brawl. Okay. Let's go dead text message. What did... And here we go. Jacko into section. Jacko with the inside run into turn 1 and 2. Jacko gets pole. What can Dissection do here? He's got the shorter way through. Is he going to try and launch it down on Jacko? And yes, he does. Breaks deep and gets right alongside him, and Jacko comes through. And Jacko waits up for open Dissection, is involved into another collision. And Jacko tries to let Dissection through to restart this race between these two guys. Is it still early enough? Tired, inventive croquette. Okay, so here we go. Dissection tries to work his way away from Jacko. Jacko's closing the gap, and it's about a half a second difference here between these two drivers. We are entering Sector 3 around our first lap here between Dissection and Jacko. Oh, and Jacko gets right up on the curb there, and that does not help him out. Just back of Dissection a little bit is Jacko, and I'm not sure if he is struggling, but he just may very well be. We are done lap 1. Jacko's 3/4 of a second back, trying to close the gap into turn 2. Dissection holds the lead after Jacko spun it out and gave it back before turn 5. Up next, we do have dead text message versus Jinnit to win it. Oh, Jacko going right up over the curb there. And he's over a second back of Dissection here. He's not even in the slipstream or the DRS right now. So I'm not sure if maybe Dissection chose Jacko's kryptonite here. But we have seen a couple mistakes from Jacko. Whether that be from the... could be from the Wi-Fi, or it just could be from simply that Jacko just may not have it on this race right now. Just over a second ahead is Dissection on Jacko. 1.3 to be exact. Dissection goes with a 133.087. Impossible still holding that fastest lap. So we could have an all-Australian race between Jacko and Stat if Dissection is able to hold on to this one. And oh no, a big mistake by Dissection there. That brings Jacko right back at him. He's within 4/10 now. And this is going to get really close now. At one moment it looked like Dissection had this all wrapped up. But that little mistake around turn 5 brings Jacko right back into it. Jacko takes a far cleaner line around this time. And a half a second is the difference between these two drivers. And it's going to get really close here. Jacko goes the inside way around turn 12. Dissection is forced to give way and gets the back of him, and then unfortunately spins. And it was that little mistake that did it in the end for Dissection. A lot of little things happening in that race to lead to Jacko coming around with the win. But that sees Dissection drop down into the loser's bracket. After taking down Impossible Bacon, Matt Rosey, and then going up against Jacko, not too bad of a winner's bracket run. He's going to go up against Static Hazard in the race following Dead Text Message versus Jinnit to win it. We're down to our final 6 drivers here. We are almost into the final 4. .842, fastest lap. Impossible Bacon still holds it. And Dead Text Message has opted for Russia here. There we go, right back into Russia we go. Final matchup of the winners semifinals. Winner of this goes to play Jacko. Loser goes up against Matt Rosey. So we've actually got a couple of losers bracket runs going here. If anyone wants to see how the bracket has taken place here, here's a link into the Twitch chat for you. Just select that and that'll bring you right up to the league tournament bracket here. Jinnit and Dead Text Message here in Russia. Dead, a Division 3 driver, promoted last season from Division 4, gets the better of Jinnit to win it through turn 1 off the start, and Jin is back in second early on here. We enter into turn 2, Dead taking a clean line, and now we're swinging around the big left-hander of turn 4. These are very important races now. Winner semifinals has Dead Text Message and Jinnit to win it, duking it out. Both representing their cars from the league. Dead Text Message teamed with, of course, the league owner, Pork Chops. And Jinnit to win it has got himself a couple of victories here in Division 1. And we may be looking at quite an upset here if Dead Text Message has the potential to get it done. And he's had quite a clean first 2 sectors here with the lead, getting a far better jump on Jin and then not looking back, and goes a little deep through turn 13 there, and then that extends into 14, and now Jin is right behind, and of course the commentator's curse Where's this dead text message all season? I don't know, man. He's overtired right now. Oh, the teammate burying his coat, his the other Alfa Romeo driver. Ouch. Still holding on to the lead is dead text message. Jin just may be waiting for another area on track to do it. But we did see a couple of minor mistakes from Jin there, so we'll see, we'll see. Now we're taking the last couple turns of Sector 1 here through the right-hander of turn 5. Pork, how's your turkey dinner or your ham or whatever you guys did? Your tofurkey if you guys are vegan. Fuck a vegan. I mean, if she was hot, yeah, I guess. And here we go. Still holding is Jin, or sorry, still holding second is Jin. Still holding first is Dead. Turkey was great. That's good. Good to hear. You have some yams, some sweet potatoes. Gotta love sweet potatoes. And still holding on is Dead, but a little bit of an oversteer snap there on turn 18. It's gonna bring Jin really close, and Jin sets the fastest lap, 133.880. And now the DRS back wing is open. Dead text message under pressure here, and Jin just slots right back through. Dead swings back over and goes a little bit too deep. And now this is Jin's opportunity to try and open up this lead. 4/10 ahead of Dead text message, and Dead is giving this thing an absolute run, closing the gap on Jin and going a little bit too deep through turn 5. A little bit too much pace for Dead there, and through turn 6 Jin actually goes wide. So this can get Dead text message close. He needs a good couple turns here, and he might have a shot back at Jin. A little bit too high on the curb, and does it again, and I think that gap is a little bit too far gone. Jin chains a couple of really good corners together and breaks off into the sunset. Dead text message does get DRS, but that won't bring him close enough. Jin at Twin It looking like he's going to come home with the win in the winners semi-final. Dead text message almost had it. And the mistakes come out for Dead, and that is all she wrote in that one. But sweet potatoes, stuffing, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, broccoli stuffing, and a green bean casserole. Wow. That sounds good. That does sound good. Who's the next race? Yes, dissection and stat. No. go. Another driver on the verge of elimination. To section Division 5. Division 5, what exactly, you ask? Well, Division 5, 5th place. Has a chance to get I don't think he does. May have a chance to get promoted. May not. Who's to know? Chooses the Merc. Stat sticking with his McLaren. Is it because of Daniel Ricciardo? I don't know. Only one way to find out. There we go. We swing around turn 1. Static Hazard gets the better jump. Dissection falls in the slipstream. Stat holds on to first place through turn 2 and 3. And we continue on our way around turn 4. Big swooping left-hander. Dissection continually sitting back within a quarter of a section, braking very deep and almost going off, but does not in the end. Pork chunks. Oh, damn. You're like 155? Pork chops, how tall are you? What the fuck? And 6'1"? What the fuck? Dude, what? Oh my. Insane metabolism. Oh my god, I could imagine. Stat pulling away from dissection here in the first lap. Stat still holding on to this 2nd and a quarter lead, but of course, as we've seen before, it's not over until the fat lady sings. So I'm assuming by that you mean no height and all weight. I have the looks of Danny. I've got the penis size of Danny DeVito. All right. Dude, let's be honest. He's got a hog. Dissection still just outside a second of Static Hazard here, trying to bring it back within, coming through the Lesmos of Russia, the Russian Lesmos. Stat going fast, but Dissection going slightly faster, 132.941. Does not take fastest lap. Hog Wilden, yes, yes indeed. And we continue on. Dissection has worked that gap down within a 3/4 of a second. There is a hope here, ladies and gentlemen, and Dissection is providing us with one. Swinging around turn 4, coming down through turn 5. He's got to nearly be perfect as we swing up into turn 9. That is the all-important one. 9/10 is the gap. So very close. It is teetering in and out of DRS range, but needs to be a little bit more than that. He needs to be within more than just 9/10 to have a shot at an overtake here. And and at the most perfect time for Static Hazard, he just works him outside of no DRS range, and that should bring an end to this race and as well to Dissection's run. Having a great winner's bracket run, but then running into Matt Rosey running into Jacko and then Stat. to bring it all to an end. Couldn't get past the wily Australians, could dissection, and that should bring an end to it for him. He is going to close the gap through the Russian Lesmos here, but I don't think it's going to get close enough. And yeah, very hard fought race for dissection, but we will see him bow out of the tournament, and Static Hazard ventures on into the losers semi-finals. .132.941. I think that was already the fast. Yeah. So we're going to stay at Russia for the this next one here as well. Matt and Dead to duke it out. And once again, I thank everyone for tuning in for this Not My Thanksgiving 1v1 Showdown. If you don't understand why it's called that, it is because this is all international drivers that have entered this. The Midwest F1 League, of course, is based out of the United States, hence Midwest. And, well, I guess there's a Midwestern Canada and a Midwestern... Okay, well, Midwestern United States F1 League. No, the Midwest F1 League, based out of the United States and Central United States of America. So I, myself, lead broadcaster Crash McQueen, have put on this lovely, lovely little 1v1 showdown with 12 of our best international drivers in the Midwest F1 League double knockout. This is another potential knockout, not potential, another knockout battle here between Matt Rosey and Dead Text Message. A couple more Canadians here, and we are dwindling down the Canucks. At one point there was 3 Canucks to 3 to 2 Australians to 1 Brit, but now after this race it will be down to 1 Canadian is left. And will that be represented by Matt Rosey, Division 1 hopeful champion at some point, race winner in Division 1, a man with a plan and pace all around, or a Dead Text Message, a man to get 1 win in Division 4 as well as a promotion and saving off elimination in Division 3. A tale of 2 worlds in driver market here, and only one way to find out who will have the better of this race, and that is to get to it. A countdown starts and the race will soon begin. The Alpine versus the Alfa Romeo, the battle of the A's, if you will, in constructors, that is, with 5 red lights going out. We start the losers quarterfinals here. Losers round 4. Matt Rosey taking an early lead into turn 1. Dead Text Message just slotting it behind, getting some DRS of a run, and can't quite close the gap enough, and actually punts Matt Rosey through the turn a little bit, putting him up on the sausage curb where you see some solid sparks. And he's going to try and close that gap. Matt Rosey goes to the inside line, and Dead sends it around the outside. And wow, swings through him on turn 5 and gets the lead. Matt Rosey just falls in behind, 3/4 of a second back, goes up on the sausage curb. Now he's actually in some trouble here. He's over a second back of Dead Text Message. But of course, Dead needs to hold this gap for a long time, and a little bit of a snap of oversteer there through turn 8 is not going to help him. No, this is turn 11. And yeah, Matt Rosey sits a second back through the quick little left-hander of turn 12 into the dive bomb of 13. And Dead Text Message is holding off Matt Rosey right now. Into Sector 3 we are. And once again, Matt finds himself in a peculiar spot. We did think we saw Matt on the verge of elimination all the way back when he was up against Ulek Holvin, losing to Dissection after spinning him out on this very same track, was on the verge of being out of the entire shindig, but Ulek Holvin gave him a breath of air and brought him back into it. Matt Rosey from that point beat Merpantelli in a tight-knit battle, and is now trying to come back at him, or is now trying to come at another Canadian, as he's actually on it. He's a Canadian killer. A Canadian himself has been taking down nothing but Canadians. And he's trying to do it again here with the last surviving Canadian in the entire tournament. Dead text message. 4/10 up now. Matt Rosey has closed that gap. And we'll take a look at that throttle. I don't think he's going to be able to catch him. He may be saving ERS. So Matt Rosey does have the ERS advantage here. It goes purple through Sector 2. He's right behind Dead text message. And Dead's fighting this one out real hard. And Matt takes a very deep line through turn 19. Matt Rosey going with a 132.736, which still does not take the fastest lap away from possible bacon. Dead text message doesn't fight the move from Matt Rosey all too much. Stays wide and tries to take a clean line through turn 2 and 3. Now, of course, when Matt had to lead at this point in lap 1, Dead text message was able to make a move around the outside of turn 5 to get the job done. But Matt Rosey was not allowing that to happen this time. And through 6, this is where you can get a little bit over ambitious with some of your turns to try and make up the gap, and that seems to be what Dead text messaging is doing, extending these lines a little bit too much. And Matt has worked that gap to just under a second now. Dead will get DRS, but Matt has put it into high gear now and is starting to break away from Dead text message. Dead's closing the gap, and a spin from Matt can change this whole thing right on its head. But it is looking unlikely with every turn Matt comes through. Dead fought it hard, fought it late, fought it well, but the Division 1 winner, or a Division 1 race winner, gets the win in the end, and that sees Dead text messages race come to an end, and his tournament as well come to an end. So Matt Rosey's losers bracket run continues, and now we're going to get stat versus Matt Rosey, and these are as well two guys that Stat and Matt Rosey have been in the losers bracket since losers bracket round 1. Now, of course, had different ways there. Stat initially won his first race against Merpantelli and then lost to Jin, where Matt Rosey was automatically put into round 2 and then lost to Dissection. But here we go. Losers semifinals. The winner of this goes on to play the loser of Jacko and Jin. We are into the final 4. Jacko, Jin, Stat, and Matt in Abu Dhabi. And then the race to follow, Jacko versus Jin in the winners finals, will as well be in Abu Dhabi, which is all important for the winner into the grand finals. Chooses exactly what order he wants the 3 races to be placed in. But here we go into Abu Dhabi. Stat with a little bit of wheel spin, but he's got the inside line on Matt. Matt is going to fight this one out harder than he did on dead text matches, and a little bit of contact between the 2 drivers, but nothing too crazy. Stat is able to get the lead through turn 2, and Matt has to sit back. And Stat holds it. Come into the hairpin before the straight. Matt just holding in behind Stat, and once again losing a little bit of time. It's 3/4 of a second back of Stat, and we'll see if he can bring that back down a little bit. Now, of course, loser of this goes out, and they will finish 4th place in the entire race. Dissection and Dead Text Message will tie for 5th and 6th. Impossible Bacon and Merpantelli tie for 7th and 8th. And 9th to 12th it goes Knuckles, Hash, Ela Colvin, and Unholy Red Eye. Stat nearly a second ahead of Matt Rosey at the end of lap 1. Was able to get the lead after turn 2 and hasn't looked back since. Both drivers not taking the best of lines through turn 1. Matt's trying to bring this bad boy back. He's able to close the gap a little bit. Matt getting a little bit too much of that curb there, that really slowed him up. Can't get as good of a launch out. And 3/4 of a second back is where Matt Rosey sits. Now it's going to come down to the final lap, I imagine, here. Matt's just got to stay close to Stat here, and Stat's got to have a blistering sector 3. Very technical sector. Definitely an area where a race can be won or lost. Any sort of kick out from either of these drivers can see that happen. Matt's still in a manageable 3/4 of a second back. And oh no! And that's gonna potentially be it. Stat goes with a 137.111. Just taking the fastest lap away from Jacko. And that seems like that's gonna be it for Matt Rosey. His losers bracket run has come to an end. Stat just has to finish the rest of this lap cleanly. and he will move on to the losers finals to face the loser of Jacko and Jinnit. Matt Rosey is just going to finish outside the podium. Couple of mistakes here in Abu Dhabi just might bring an end to it all. And Static Hazard throwing the curveballs of racing at Abu Dhabi into it, and seemingly making the difference here with well, I won't say a couple of wins, but taking a strategic thought process into track selections and choosing one that isn't raced at as much as the other tracks. I mean, of course, France. I did choose tracks that were unpopular in a way, but I felt would race good. Fun in video games, but not watching the race, and I feel like these three tracks fit that bill very well. And that will bring an end to it. Stat shows no mercy, comes over and even improves on his fastest lap. And Matt Rosey is gone. So Matt Rosey, like I said, with the 4th place finish, we move on to the top 3. And there we go. We get right into it. The winners finals, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 3 matchups left to complete. Jacko versus Jin, our 1 seed versus our 3 seed. We'll face off against our 6th seed to see who will come back into the winners finals, or the grand finals. Jacko continuing his selection of the Mercedes, and Jin continuing his team selection of Aston Martin, holding on to the James Bond car. Five red lights come up, and they go out here in Abu Dhabi. Jin gets a better launch on Jacko here, and is going to hold the lead through turn 1. Jacko's just in behind. Now Jacko's got to be careful here because Jin's got some crazy pace. And sometimes having those penalties can come and bite him in the ass, but with it being such a short race, Jin is allowed to get those warnings because he's only got 3 laps. And Jacko looks at a move here, but Jin's going to be able to outbrake him. And Jacko slots in behind, still holding on to 2nd place. He's in the slipstream of Jin. And Jin is going to be under some pressure here. Goes to defend, but outbreaks Jacko once again. Still holds on to 1st place. Coming up to turn 15, Jin still holds on. Quarter of a second behind is Jacko, not allowing himself to be shook by Jin. Jacko's doing a good job of keeping up with the pace of Jin. As well, putting him under a little bit of distress a couple of times there. Taking a little bit different lines with these drivers here. Not much difference between the two, though. And both going a little bit deep. And now Jacko's going to have Jin under a little bit more pressure here. And gets a better launch. And he's going to get alongside Jin, and we've got a true lead change here. Jacko's got the inside line. Looks like he's got the straight line speed as well. But what can Jin do coming out of turn 7 as well as turn 8? Jacko's a little bit too far. And now we come into the technical sector 3 here. And wow, this is very close racing here. These guys have not been separated by more than a half a second the entire race. Two guys that are extremely familiar with each other, have raced each other for a very long time. 137.979 was the lap there. A second off the pace of Stat there. So it just shows you how much these two are battling it out. Oh, and Jacko spins. And wow, I did not expect that. Coming up over the hill of turn 3/4, just loses it ever so slightly. And that looks like it could potentially be Jin's race here. 15 seconds up the road now. Jacko's just getting himself back set. I think he had a little bit of another issue there. And yeah, on lap 3, coming down the hill over the crest, Jacko unfortunately loses it. And yeah, Jacko goes on to the losers finals. Jin jumps up into the winners finals. It'll be Jacko and Stat, an all Australian losers final. I think Jacko isn't choosing any car, and that's just... Oh. right back into it. Losers finals. It's going to be an Australian crime here. We'll see what these two will do. Luis Digsy, I think that's how you pronounce that. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. That puts us at 244. Battle of the Aussies, yes. The Australian drivers go at it. Mono S Mono. Jacko's got the inside line. Static's got the slipstream, and Stat's got a far better run. What am I talking about? I thought we were in Russia. No, we were in Abu Dhabi. Stat's got the inside line. Contact between the two drivers. Jacko's going all the way around the outside through turn 1 and turn 2. A little bit more contact between these guys. Aussies are getting their elbows out, racing each other extremely hard right out of the gate. Jacko leads us. Stat just in behind. Jacko wants his revenge on Jin. Stat wants his battle in the grand finals, making an amazing losers bracket run, starting all the way back in losers round 1. We are now in losers round 5. Stat still alive. He's got to take down Jacko, a former Division 1 champion, one of which that he used to commentate on. So this could come full circle here, ladies and gentlemen. Jacko leads by a half a second on Stat. Stat doing as much as he can to close this gap down. This is going to be a tough one. Of course, Jacko just had the race here prior with Jin and spun out on lap 3. Was he leading? I think he was leading Jin as well. Spun out right on the front of his nose, and that was it. Jin took it from there on out, and now sits and waits in the grand finals for these two to settle this score. And right now, Jacko's got the upper hand. I don't know if you guys can feel it, but you can just feel them absolutely pushing every turn as much as possible. This is not race pace at all. Pork Chops would be terrible at this. This is all battle pace, which you can even consider different than quality pace. This is all just take as much time away from every turn as possible. Put as much pressure on the driver as possible. And don't allow them to feel comfortable at all. Braking very deep is Stat. Does a good job to correct his line, but Jacko gets a pretty good run out of the turn. Stat follows him, gets into the slipstream and closes that gap to around 4/10 as we enter into Sector 3. Things have kind of settled down a little bit here. Oh, Jacko going off a little bit. Stat's able to get that time back. Jacko continually going off racetrack. 137.301. Stat still holds fastest lap. Just outside a half a second. Stat's closing this gap. At this point last time, Jacko spun out. And now Stat brings that gap right back, brakes super hard and late. And now he's right with Jacko. But Jacko gets a really good run out. Stat won't be close enough here to fight. Oh, no, he opens it up a little bit. No, but can't fight it in through turn 6. Goes a wee bit deep. And this is where it all comes down to. Another DRS sector. And 6/10 may just be a little bit too much for Stat here. And I think it's it. His battery is virtually drained, as you can see on his steering wheel. Jacko got the lead early and didn't give in. And that will see Jacko come over as well as fastest lap. As Stat going on his crazy loser's bracket run as well. Bows out and will finish 3rd place. And that brings Jin and Jacko back into the finals. Grand finals, 136.950. That does take fastest lap now. Russia, France, Abu Dhabi. Okay. So that's how we're going to end it here. Russia, France, and Abu Dhabi. Fastest laps of the evenings, unless I've missed one. Impossible currently has the Russia fastest lap at a 132.624. That'd be Impossible Bacon. Matt Rosey has the fastest and France at a 130.457. Russia, France, Abu Dhabi. And that's it. We are getting right into it here. This is the grand finals. The 1v1 Not My Thanksgiving Showdown is coming to an end. I thank everyone that has stuck this one out. This has been a fun one. Been a little quicker than the last one. The last one was 4.5 hours. This one's only 3. So, yeah. I think last time I did it during the Christmas break as well. But yeah, no, this time it's the Thanksgiving Thursday. Not my Thanksgiving though, your Thanksgiving Thursday. So we'll see how this one finishes off. Really looking forward to this. Jin and Jacko, probably the guys you could have handpicked for this final, really. Could have been a lot of guys, but Jin and Jacko have a lot of pace and have a lot of craft. That's the word. There we go. Wheel to wheel around turn 1, giving each other enough room. Jin is holding the middle of the lane, but Jacko's got the straight pace and holds on through turn 1 and through turn 2, as well to turn 3, because we're on turn 4 right now. Jacko's swinging around the tighter inside line, right in behind Jacko, and goes up onto the curb, extending that line as much as possible. 12 drivers entered, and these two are the final ones left. Double elimination has brought Jacko to the brink, but he took down his countrymate in Static Hazard and is now trying to take down the man that sent his ancestors to the island of Australia way back when, and has forced Jacko and his ancestrals to start a new life there and to build a Jacko up into getting his revenge many of moons later in the It's Not My Thanksgiving 1v1 Showdown. Jin currently sitting 4/10 out of Jacko. Jacko taking a little bit of a deep line there, and that brings Jin right back into it. But as we've seen several times, as long as you stay close, you'll have a shot at the end with the DRS. First 2 laps have no DRS. The final one does. Jacko going fastest with a 134.613. Jin taking that really sharp line in comparison to Jacko. Now Jack was able to get a little bit of breathing room, and by a little bit I mean a half a second. But Jin closes that right back down. Oh, we might have a lead change here. Jin gets a really good run. Jacko doesn't as much, and Jin just holds in his slipstream. Can't quite get the pace to go around. Here we go, the final turn. Jin's gonna get DRS here. Moves out alongside Jacko, has the inside line. Jacko's just in behind in turn 2. Jin takes the lead on lap 3. I know this is where it gets extremely important. Will Jin be able to break away from Jacko enough so Jacko can't warrant a re-overtake back through turn 13? Jacko's got to follow Jin close here. Can't allow him to get too far, going way off track as Jacko there. Does lose him a little bit of time, still a half a second back. And Jacko loses some major time now. 6/10 back, and Jin I think might have race 1. Might get close here, but I don't think Jacko's going to be able to get something down into turn 13 enough. And we come through the final sector here. Jin overtook Jacko just after turn 1, had the full car length ahead through turn 2, and ooh! Now this gets crazy. Jin gets super aggressive on closing the line on Jacko, and wheel to wheel over the line. What the? Jacko got the win in the end. Oh my god. So, after Jin's error on turn 15 or 16. Oh no. All right. So that was a little bit different. We're in France now. Jin is on the brink. Once again, it looks like Jin gets the better start. Going to get himself and try and send it around the outside line, up over the curve of turn 2. Jacko closes the door. Jin sends it around deep and now has the inside line. And finally, after 5 turns, we will have a solidified first place. Jin tries to break the toe. Jacko's just able to catch it. And just like that, Sector 2 is in the books here in lap 1. Jin currently has 6/10 of a lead on Jacko. Looks like he's just trying to entirely outpace Jacko here. And yeah, that looks like exactly what Jin's doing here. Almost has that gap to above a second. Almost at the end of lap 1, and Jin's got a fairly commanding grasp on this lead here. Now, of course, crazier things have happened. .4 is where Jin is ahead right now. Jacko's doing the best he can to try and keep that gap within striking distance. But Jin seems to be on another pace here in France. And very much needed pace after just getting edged out by Jacko in Russia. Trying to even up the series is Jin. He's well on his way to sending us to Abu Dhabi for the finale. One more lap to go. Jacko doesn't seem to have an answer here in France. Paul Ricard is certainly falling the way of Jin as he sets the fastest lap at a 1:30.821. Still not as quick as Matt Rosey's fastest lap. And we'll see where he is. Come through the split. He's actually slower. Jacko's slightly quicker, but he did go off track a little bit there. Jin's just got to keep his nerve. We should be going to Abu Dhabi. And just about to finish up this race, Jin took the lead early on and has not looked back ever since. And Jacko just didn't have an answer for the pace. Jin will come over the line and push us to race 3. Jacko will come over and welcome the challenge. Okay, this is for all the marbles, as they say. If you are still rocking it with me and you are a Midwest F1 League sub, get the freaking chat bumping. And if you don't have any emotes, then just get it going here. We are in the final race of the 1v1. That's not my Thanksgiving duel. But I'm tired. I'm tired. Let's take a nap. And then fire some missiles. But there we go. We are right into it. Jacko gets an early lead here on Jin. Now we of course remember what happened last time. It looks like we're getting a race in the sun here to finish it off in Abu Dhabi, slightly under the lights, partially under the lights really. Jin just in behind Jacko as we swing our way through the end or the beginning of Sector 2. And here we go. This all comes down to these final 3 laps. Who will take home It's Not My Thanksgiving championship? Jacko, of course, won the Crash Bash or whatever it was last time, and is on the verge of taking it home again. Jin, I have no idea if he was involved in the last one, but he wants to get his name on the Cuppident trophy. Our first time through Sector 3 in Abu Dhabi in the Grand Finals, and our last time overall coming through our first time. The last time that we were going to be coming through Sector 3 for our first time is what I was trying to say. The Pilaster stays alive on the corner of turn 16. Now, Abu Dhabi is a weird circuit. Oh yeah, they changed it. Oh yeah. I forgot about that. So the end of the Sector 2, or Sector 1, or yeah, Sector 2 DRS section. Oh, and a little bit of contact between Jin and Jacko there. Yeah, the end of Sector 2 DRS section is now a big swooping left-hand turn. So Jacko still holds the lead. Now, it's actually really tough to try and get an overtake into turn 9 here, because you need a really good run out of turn 7. And that can be difficult, being in right directly in the dirty air. And Jin was slowly falling back a little bit there. He just needs to try and close this gap. I don't think Jacko's going to make the same mistake that he made before. If that does happen, then that would bring a tragic end to the finale here. 137.3. No, it looks like Stat's going to hold on to the fastest lap here overall. Oh, a little bit of a mistake from Jin. Okay, this is getting really intense now. Okay. Jin gets a really good run out of turn 5. Now he's going to close that gap down. Breaks very deep, right on the tail of Jacko here. Jacko tries to break off into the distance here, but Jin is just about entirely out of ERS. Jacko holds on, and now we kind of enter Sector 3 here. And Jacko now is the one putting the speed on Jin, and Jin just absolutely cuts that turn. Running out of turns here. And that mistaken Russia is going to come back to bite Jin in the ass. And that will be all she wrote. Jin finishes in second. Jacko will take home the fastest lap as well. And a hard fought overall tournament in the end goes to Jacko. And yeah, okay. Racing Ginger, good to see you, man. Thank you very much. Okay. Well then, let's turn this down a little bit. Okay. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been an absolute blast. I'm very happy with how this went. We are just over 3 hours deep into our stream. First race went all the way back 3 hours ago, and things went fairly smoothly. No real hiccups, and I appreciate all the drivers that came in here and took part of this, and I'm glad that everyone enjoyed it, and I'm assuming there will be something like this in the future. I'm hoping that you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, and I'm hoping that you enjoyed your not my Thanksgiving and your normal Thursday. So thank you very much for tuning in. Hello everyone on the YouTube channel if you're watching it there. Be sure to go follow us on Twitter and Instagram if you haven't so yet. Shoot us a follow on Twitch if you're here. You're here right now. You'll say you might do it later, but you're probably going to forget. So just get it done right now. Just hit that button. We're at 244. We're almost at 250, which is our season 4 goal. So help us get there. We're running out of time. I don't have the updated division stats, but here's Division 1 before the final week. Mystic Joker has locked up the Drivers' Championship. The Constructors' Championship is still hella close as well, with the Division 2 Drivers' Championship is as well hella close. So Near Nix has actually fallen out of the promotion position. So a lot of things going on in the final week. Be sure to come back. Thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Have a good rest of your Thursday. Have a good Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoyed your football and your turkey. I've been Crash McQueen. We've been the Midwest F1 League. And good night.